Alright, hello everyone, and thanks for joining. Can I get some confirmation that you can hear me? If someone's alive? If yes, then we can get started. Sorry that I don't have my VTuber, eternally not working VTuber, but I was changing my setup and I have to set him again with like a webcam or something. For now, the topic of our today quick tutorial will be exporting stuff from Substance. Whoops! I should probably close all of this. Sorry, I was working on a mod. Because we are exporting for games, games often use texture packing, which means putting different maps, usually black and white maps, in channels of a single texture for optimization purposes. So one of the way to go about it is to export stuff using standard PBR presets that Substance gives us, then combining them in Photoshop, but it can get quite annoying if we have to do it every single time. So I will show you how to do your own custom setups that you can put straight in the game afterwards. For games like Final Fantasy XIV, there exist profiles that some people made, but really they sometimes have problems, or you might want to work on different game, and I want to show you that it's not that hard, to be fair, to set up them yourself. So first thing that we will need, other than closing my web browsers, okay, this one, is we need to know what do we want to export. For this example, I will be using just exporting the gear shader from Final Fantasy XIV. But you can use this for any game. Also, you can use this if you are doing stuff like hair or skin that might have their own setups. And of course, I don't remember everything, so I will use a handy document that just shows us what is needed for our stuff. For case of standard gear shader, we will have something that is normal map that has something else packed on blue and alpha channel, and we will have a multi. If we are using the multi preset, that will have some masks that will get explained afterwards. Okay, so what we can always start with, of course, these are mine presets, but that I made before, but Substance will always have something like PBR metallic roughness, and this is basically how we will probably texture an asset in Substance. By the way, first thing first, okay, let's start from the beginning. To find the output templates settings, you need to go to the export textures. It's not in like main settings or anywhere else. When you are on the export textures thing, you will have the output templates tab. Okay, so we might want to start with metallic roughness. And we can make a copy of it, because that is a starting point for us with these two sheets of paper thing. We will name this something, let's say tutorial FF14 PBR gear. And what do we have here? Here we have all the textures that gets exported when you select that particular output template in the settings. And we have stuff here like for PBR, we have like base color, we have roughness, we have metallic, normal, height, and emissive. Okay, we can start by cleaning this up a little bit, because okay, if you want to export stuff for renders later at the same time, it's nice that you can leave this that you are using, but it's not needed if you are just working on model for the game. So I will start by removing stuff like emissive, because this won't be used, or height, this also won't be used, and see what do we have here. we have base color, which is the diffuse texture, which might be useful if you are using diffuse specular preset in 14. We have roughness that might be useful for nothing in 14. And, well, metallic you won't use in 14 also. You have something like normal, which is normal map. I will start with the normal map because it's the one that is problematic in pre-existing templates, because if we hover over this, we can see that by default Substance exports DirectX normal maps, and we are working on a game that uses OpenGL normal maps. Of course, you can flip this every time you in Photoshop, but that's kind of not the point. And by the way, if you are starting the project, you can use both the DirectX and OpenGL. As long as you are consistent, you can work in one in Substance, then export in another one. So it's mostly important that here it's set to OpenGL, in our case of 14. And now it's set to DirectX, and it's in one chunk, RGB. If we look at our TextTools reference information, we see that this game uses a trick to save space, that it packs opacity in the blue channel and something called color set or color table in the alpha channel. And we want to include that in our export. By the way, generally, tangent space normal maps don't require blue channel. If it's not used for anything, it only needs X and Y directions. The Z direction is assumed that it's 1. Okay, so let's try to make this work. We can see on this window that we have something like converted maps that has normal DirectX and normal OpenGL. And it has a lot of stuff that we can choose from that I will talk about a bit later. Important thing for this is if we can right click on we can left click on these channels, and we can clear them, which will just eat the thing that was here, and we can do something like split collapse RGB, and this will allow us to put single channels here. So one thing that is important for us is that we need an alpha channel, and this was created as RGB, not RGBA. So we can create a new output texture here. I will do RGB plus A. And now this by default would export just RGB alpha, regardless of how your project is named, and it could be a bit bad because if you work on many projects, they would overwrite each other. So I will just cheat a little bit and use this, because this has some syntax, like this will be name of the file, of the Substance file. This will be name of a material. This dollar thing is. I think it's good for us that we have both. So I will delete this. We don't need this anymore. I will split, and now we can start setting this up. So we need R and G from the normal map. So OpenGL normal map, we can just how do you call it? Drag this and to the red channel and green channel. This here is the channel from the map that we are using. So red from normal OpenGL goes to red here, green from normal OpenGL goes here. And now we need opacity. It's here in input maps. Opacity will be in blue channel, which was gray. Gray is for like grayscale stuff. And we need this color set thing. Substance doesn't know what a color set is, so we have to, well, make it up somewhat. And that's where stuff like user channels comes in. You can make your own channels in Substance and paint on them and use all the Substance goodies, even if it's not something that Substance knows what it is. This from user 0 to user 15, there is 16 of them, and you can put your stuff and export. So I will assume for now that my user 0 channel will be the alpha. Okay. The other one that we need is this multi, and technically we could put just these channels, ambient occlusion and specular and gloss or inverted roughness that we have in Substance, but it comes with some problems that I will talk about later. So because it's nice to be able to control this and not make your viewport look weird. So I will just assume that. Let me create multi first. I will reuse this again. I will call this multi. Okay. And now I will just use 3 user channels for this. This will make sense a bit later. I just want custom channels where I put stuff that I need. That just will be user 1 to 3, like my name. All right. Here we go. And basically, this base color thing is useful if we sometimes make things for diffuse specular shader. Shader preset, and this is nice to have. I will leave this for now. Okay, this is all there is to it. It's just dragging and dropping and splitting and collapsing channels and reading stuff that is here. By the way, some of this channel packing will change in Dawntrail because the shaders are different. There is new, like, cool technology, and they mixed stuff up. So it's important to know how to do this, because after Dawntrail launches, you will just open document that will look like this and look, oh, this is now this is subsurface scattering, this is whatever, and you have this set up in 5 minutes. It took me 10 minutes because I was talking over the process, to be fair. And you can do it for all that you want. If it's, for example, hair, you would set up it in exactly the same way. All right. Now, how to work with this and how to make this multi maps with this type of setup. Okay, this exists now. Okay. I will use as an example, it's a model that I made not that long ago. It's a Pikachu bunny suit. I used some of this stuff here, but some stuff I did a little bit differently. But generally, you have your painted model. You painted it probably, you textured it, sorry, probably using some kind of materials that are PBR, that have some roughness, so that has some roughness, that has some base color, has all these, well, channels, normal plus height plus mesh. But now it has to somewhat transfer to this multi thing. We need to put things. Just give it a second, because my Substance, it's quite a big file, yeah. But first, what do we need to do is go here to the channels and add these user channels. I actually added user 0 already because I used color sets for this, but you can add, click on this little plus and add user 1, user 2, user 3. Now, if you are like me and don't remember which one is which all the time, you can double click on this and change this, for example, as a color set row. This will be AO mask. This will be specular mask. This will be gloss mask. And this is all the setup that is needed for working with this in Substance. So, for example, let's start with color set. Actually, this is already done here. When you are making color sets, which are on here, yeah, you can see it's a color set. You can basically just give me a second. This is a lot of layers. Let me see. This is mask. Streamer.prepared as always. Oh, here we go. How this now will appear in your Substance? Let me make this. Okay. How this now will appear in the Substance will be next to our standard stuff like color, roughness, and so on. It will have channel like color set, channel like this AO mask, channel like this specular mask, channel like this gloss mask. And you texture it like normally. I use something called color set raw texture. It's a simple thing that someone made and put on XMA if you want it, if you don't want to type numbers by hand, because I can do this. Now where is it? It's here. Okay, we can just use normal grayscale values from 0 to 1. In the same TexTools reference document, there are RGB values for this. Like here, this is this thing that you can type in. Like row 2 will be 0.0667. But if you can grab this thing, it's a thing that you just import to Substance, drag and drop as a texture. It has basically this and a slider, so you don't have to type numbers by hand. That is what this is used for. But it's just a normal channel. So you just use stuff like fill layers or paint layers or whatever to make this grayscale mask that will be for color set rows. If I can say something about general preparation for this, good thing to do is when you start texturing in general, make yourself some masks. Because I started with making masks that will be used later for like where to put material. So like these frills will be from black fabric. This bow tie will be from red fabric and so on. So, and then I put anchor points so I can reference this later when I want to put color set or something like that. It might be kind of useful type of workflow because these masks you can adjust later and not paint the same thing a few times. All right. So this is just color set. Now, if we want to make ambient occlusion mask for our textures, what we can do is just use ambient occlusion that we already have here. And the way to do it, how to reference everything that we did in these layers, is it works for any channel, by the way, and it's very useful. We create an empty paint layer Now we go to the blending for the channel that we need. In this case, we want this ambient occlusion. We want everything here to do something. The blending mode we set to pass through. We don't paint anything. We don't paint anything here, but it will well, pass it through, because normally if this would be set, let's say, to normal, there wouldn't be anything on this layer. There wouldn't be anything on this layer. It would be like transparent. If we set it to pass through, where is it? Here. If we set this to pass through, then everything will be snapshotted in this layer, which means we can add an anchor point that I will call AO anchor, let's say. Then I will add a fill layer to my AO mask. And I will select this anchor point, AO anchor. And now if just give me a second. AO mask. What did I do? Ambient occlusion pass through. AO mask. Just give me a second, I'm sorry. Okay. No, I'm silly. We have to select to get reference channel to actually the ambient occlusion. Okay, because now it will try to refer the same channel that wasn't even populated. So this way on our AO mask there will be the ambient occlusion value. We can, for example, the specular mask on FFGIR usually stays, well, the same, stays white. So we can texture this manually, like make it white with just a fill layer in this case. And a good starting point for a gloss mask in FF is actually to use AO. So I will reuse this anchor point. AO anchor, ambient occlusion, I will reuse this. Now, if I go to export the textures and choose my profile that is somewhere, T like tutorial, okay. And I will export this. You can see it exported multi and the normal. This is multi. Okay, I will just for the demo purposes so we can see, because this was exported before. I will export this again. We can see that our exports, actually this looks like multi from Final Fantasy. And if we, let me open Photoshop to see how it looks with like channels and stuff. I will create new so I can link this. I won't assume you know anything about Photoshop. To be fair, it's just for like a presentation purposes, so we can see the channels rather easily. If Photoshop preparing smart object, okay. So now if we go to channels here, we can see that our AO is on red, our specular mask is on green, and our gloss mask is on blue. Colors are hard, as we all know. Good thing with this approach is that it doesn't show on the model all the time, because we could use these things, this gloss, this roughness, these things from the output templates, straight plug them in. But because these values in the multi are masks that are multiplied with values from the row, we generally want them to be mostly white, or stuff will look weird, especially when you are setting up dice. And this gloss mask, this specular mask being on, specular mask or gloss mask being like this, would give us something that looks like we set roughness to 0, so we would have to look at this model with this super shiny surface, and it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make much sense, and it's not too easy on the eye. But good thing about using this approach is also that we can adjust this and put whatever we need on these textures. If we want to adjust levels of this, then we can again just do the pass-through on this case gloss mask. Pass through. By the way, this way you can apply filter to any channel. It might be useful if you want to do it globally, not like only for a single layer. So we add. Oh, thank you for following D. Thank you very much. I'm just showing some stuff now. Okay. Okay, let me go back to what I was going to say. Oh, I'm sorry that you can't stay. But don't worry, there will be a VOD for this. So if you want to have a look, then later, then you can. VOD will be on my YouTube channel as always. All right, so now if we want to adjust levels on this, we just add a paint layer pass-through on the channel that we want to modify. Add a filter. Let's say this is too strong. We want to blur this gloss mask. We can add blur, no problem. If only, and we can blur this. We can add levels, and I won't blur this for now because this might be too strong, for example. So we might want to affected channel gloss mask. We might want to do it like this. By the way, it's something that you often do for ambient occlusion, for AO mask, because this is kind of strong, and it doesn't matter if you are not dyeing your stuff, but if you are dyeing your stuff, then it might be that if it's pure white, let's say, it will look kind of dirty, because this is not real AO, this is more of a just multiplying the color. So if we want to make AO less strong, we can we can do it like this. So I think it's kind of a useful technique, and nothing changes on the view of the model when we are texturing it. The last thing is, if we are using our materials, our materials that we found from Substance, Source, or from ArtStation, or found somewhere on the internet, sometimes they will. It's very easy to lose information like roughness variation or something from this. This is well, this is not that useful for us because it's one value. By the way, if you are setting up gloss or roughness values, do it in color set. For the main values, it's way easier and you can modify it while you are in game. And the dice will behave correctly. But I will, for demonstration purposes, I will slap a smart material on this that has, that will be very easy to see. Let's say this is a bunny suit made out of machinery right now, okay? Okay, beautiful. And this will have this kind of roughness mask because there is some splashes of damage or whatever. And we would like to use it in our gloss. So, of course, we just add anchor point because anchor points are very useful for everything. I would like them in Photoshop, to be fair. So if you want to put this on our gloss, on our mask, it's not here, yeah, because we just don't use these gloss values, but we can quickly do the gloss mask, fill with what it was called again, machinery anchor point. Okay, reference channel, machinery, this will be roughness in our case. Okay, now this is in our gloss mask, but of course this overridden everything. So we can change blending modes. We can go and see if one of them maybe won't be that strong. This starts to look promising if we subtract this. Then, but okay, just give me a second to gather my thoughts. But now we can add levels and adjust this so on our gloss it will have a little bit of this stuff that is whatever you want in this case. In this case, it's very metal Pikachu. By the way, the colors are kind of similar on this tail, so I like the post-apocalyptic Pikachu. Okay. Okay. And you can build up your own masks this way for everything you want. If you never made stuff that dies for FF14, this is basically the way to go. You kind of have to make this stuff so it's mainly white, so it won't blow up if stuff is dyed. So it's nice to have this separate, and this will and then add these fill layers or paint layers and get everything included that you want in this. What else can I say about this? One good tip is if you are doing the color set and your model is actually baked with proper ID maps. This one kind of is, yep. Kind of, sorta, okay. Because this was painted off before. What you can do is, let's say I want the bustier to be color set 0. Is add this color set 0 in a fill layer. So now the color set is everywhere 0. Then add mask with color selection and use your ID map for this. Which if you bake stuff, and Sharana probably shown this a lot of times, if you bake stuff and you separate the objects, you get this color map that you can now use to make your own color set mask. This way it saves you time from manually painting stuff. Let me add the color set row thing, by the way. I won't talk much about color setting because the The stuff is changing a bit in down trail. We get more color set rows, but it gets moved. The blending between color set rows gets moved to another mask. So I will cover stuff like color setting and blending, like proper color setting, blending color sets, making stuff dyeable and detailed at the same time without using a diffuse. I will cover this after dawn trail launches because now it's there is no point. I will add the color set row, and now we can do this. We can set these color sets how we want. Of course, if there is stuff that you will use like different color sets for, where is this? You have to account for it also. Okay, to sum it up. Exporting textures in like packed channels we achieve by making our own template, which you can make in export textures menu, and you can make them based on one of the already made ones, or you can make them from scratch if you want. And everything that is needed for this is some knowledge or external memory about where to put what, and dragging and dropping stuff here. It's nothing complicated. The last thing that I will say is that if you for some reason want to share this preset with someone, there is actually a way. Or if you want to just backup this for yourself. I have this on second screen. 1 second. These custom presets, they are in the Adobe Substance 3D Painter Assets Export Presets window. So these SPXP files. So you can back them up or send them to your modding friend, and they can just put it back in their painter, and it will work on their computer too. No problem whatsoever.